Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking the code on English words. We're going to pull back the curtain and see how they're really built, piece by piece.
So, have you ever been reading along, minding your own business, and then, bam, you hit a word like this one? It's long, it looks super complicated, and your first instinct is probably to just skip right over it.
But what if I told you that you don't actually need to run for a dictionary every time? What if there's a systematic code behind these massive words, a set of rules that you can learn, like right now, to build and understand them?
Okay, so let's get into it. To crack this code, we got to start with the absolute basics, the secret building blocks.
And that fundamental piece, it's called a morpheme. Seriously, think of it as the ultimate Lego brick of language. It's the smallest, tiniest part of a word that still has its own distinct meaning.
Now here's where it gets interesting. Morphemes come in two main flavors. First, you've got free morphemes. These are the ones that can stand all on their own, as words, like friend or walk. But then you have bound morphemes. These guys are a little needy. They're like attachments, pieces like un or li that have to be stuck onto another word to do their thing.
So let's see how this actually works in the wild. We're going to look at the most common way words get built, a process called affixation, which, is just a fancy word for adding these little bound morphemes to a word. Check this out. It's just like building with those Legos. We can start with a simple base, a free morpheme like friend. Okay? Then we snap on the suffix li, and boom, it's an adjective, friendly. Now let's add a prefix, un, to flip its meaning, unfriendly. And hey, we're not done. We can even add another suffix, ness, to turn it back into a noun, unfriendliness. See that? Just by layering these simple blocks, we've built a pretty complex word. All right, let's zoom in on those pieces. First up, prefixes. These are the bits that get attached to the beginning of a word. Their main job is to change the meaning. But here's the key thing. They usually don't change what kind of word it is, like from a noun to a verb. You see these everywhere, the negative prefixes. Un, in, dis, non. They all do a really simple job. They just flip the meaning of a word to its total opposite. So wise becomes unwise, legal becomes illegal. Simple as that.
And then you've got these guys, the reversative prefixes. Now these are a little different. Their job is to undo an action. So if you tie your shoes, you can untie them. If you connect a cable, you can disconnect it. It's literally the action of reversal.
Okay, so that's the front of the word. Now for the other end, suffixes. These are the morphemes that get tacked on at the end, and this is where the real magic happens. Because unlike most prefixes, suffixes have the power to change a word's entire job in a sentence. Take a look at these noun-forming suffixes. You can grab a verb, like teach, slap an on the end, and bam, you've got a noun, teacher. Or take an adjective, like happy, add ness, and you create this abstract idea, the noun happiness. It's an incredibly powerful way to expand your vocabulary without learning totally new words. But wait, there's more. Attaching prefixes and suffixes isn't the only way English gets creative. Sometimes the language just gets, more direct.
This is called compounding, and it's probably one of the simplest but most powerful ways to make a new word. You literally just take two existing words like black and board and smash them together to make blackboard.
And you see this all the time, creating words we use every single day. A verb and a noun get together to make swimming pool. Two nouns make girlfriend. It's a beautifully simple mix-and-match system.
And the language has even more tricks up its sleeve. We blend words like smoke and fog, mushing together to make smog. We get lazy and clip words, turning a mouthful like advertisement into just ad. And of course, we make acronyms by just grabbing the first letter of each word in a phrase, like the BBC.
Okay, now for what I think is a real magic trick. What if I told you English can create a brand new word without adding anything, without changing the spelling, without doing anything at all to how it looks? This amazing process is called conversion. Some people call it zero derivation, which is a cool name because it's like we're deriving a new word, but by adding, nothing, a zero affix. We simply take a word that already exists and just decide it can be a different part of speech now. And this just shows that context is absolutely everything. The exact same string of letters, W, A, L, K, can be a noun, let's go for a walk, or it can be a verb, let's walk to the store. The only thing that changed was how we used it in the sentence. Pretty cool, right?
So, with all these tools in our belt, affixation, compounding, conversion. We basically have the keys to the code. So let's go back to that monster of a word from the very beginning.
Remember this beast? Denationalization. It doesn't look quite so scary anymore, does it? Because you're not seeing one long, jumbled-up word. You're seeing a collection of building blocks.
Now we can actually deconstruct it, take it apart piece by piece. We start with the base noun, nation. Then we add al to make it an adjective, national. Tack on eyes to turn it into a verb, nationalize. Then we stick that reversative prefix, d, on the front to undo the action, denationalize. And finally, we add ation to turn the whole thing back into a noun that describes the process, denationalization. It's just a stack of morphemes, one on top of the other.
And this is why all of this is so important. Learning these simple rules is way more powerful than trying to memorize a giant, endless list of vocabulary. It gives you a system. It gives you the power to look at a word you've never seen before and make a really, really good guess about what it means just by breaking it down into its parts. So, you now have the fundamental toolkit for decoding a huge part of the English language. The code isn't some big secret anymore. It's a system, and you know how it works. So the only question left is, now that you have the key, what words are you going to unlock next?